Good morning and welcome to Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition right here on 92.9 KVRE, streaming online at kvre.com. With Tracy Simpson, I'm Mark Oliver. We've got our cups full and we've got our minds full of a lot of great sports topics this week. Tracy, how was your week this week?
Great week, Mark, as far as sport events and such around the area. Predicting stuff, not so good, Mark. I'll be honest with you. Little lackluster on the teams that I wanted in, the horses that I wanted to win, and, of course, just a little lackluster. I'm going to leave it at that.
Tracy, sometimes even the experts get it wrong, and I'll be the first to admit that, boy, was I wrong this week. NBA Finals in full effect, of course. The big story across sports this week, and I got to admit, 3 games in, I'm not feeling really good on my prediction of Mavericks in 5. I'm going to be honest, mainly because it's impossible at this point. But let's talk about the NBA Finals. Let's break down the 3 games that we've seen. You know, Boston coming into this series, I felt was too much of a wild card. There were so many games where there were close series, games that they would let their opponent in, and I just didn't feel like Boston should have had it there. You know, on paper, such a strong defensive unit, I feel like this is a team that should be able to put your foot down on the throat of your opponent, so to speak, and be able to take care of business and come away with big sweeps, decisive victories, and maybe it took getting to the final stage and maybe with a lot of high stakes on the line for Boston to finally do just that. And against a very good Dallas Mavericks team, I know that facing a 3-0 deficit, they don't look like a very good team right now, Dallas, but this is a team that overcame a lot of really tough teams in the West, the wild, wild West, so to speak, to get to this moment. But right now, Tracy, it really feels like it's Boston's moment, up 3-0. No one has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit in the finals. What are your thoughts so far 3 games in?
Mark, yeah, just like that. I think it all took us by surprise. Even the Celtic fans, I think, took surprise. Most of them thought they'd get, 2 games in at the Garden, but coming in to Dallas, where Mavericks have been just, tough, and I mean capital T tough, but it was more of a technical tough in other aspects for them to go down in that game. Foul problems, crying up to the refs and stuff like that, which you didn't, obviously the fouls were there, maybe not all of them. It doesn't matter, though. They're down 3-0, backs against the wall. No. Just like you said, 3-0 coming back, not going to happen. And I say that, and here we've been wrong before, obviously, this week. but 4-3, that's not going to happen. 4 in a row, and especially they've got to go back to the Garden. Nobody was more surprised than me at this whole event. They were on a hot streak, and you and I talk about hot streaks all the time.
Yeah.
Well, their hot streak just got real cold. Their shooting got cold. And you and I talk about this all the time, and me especially harp on it. Foul line, you got to make your free throws. They are the worst free throw shooting team in the playoffs, and it showed. It really showed up at the Garden. It showed down in Dallas, and it's making the game just totally different from what it should be. They had their chances, but as it is right now, Boston, another title.
You see 2 teams here that are capable of making adjustments. Dallas really has not made the adjustments that has needed to make in order to defensively. Of course, Boston coming in as the best defensive team in the NBA. We knew that coming into this final series. And, they make the adjustments mid-game, switching off on and really, to my surprise, and to Boston's success, I guess I should say, they've really let Luka run wild in this series, which is death to any other team in the NBA. But Boston has really just let Luka just do his thing, put up his shots, and what they've done instead is, especially in games 1 and 2, they locked down everybody else. They took everybody else out of the equation. They made Kyrie Irving invisible in games 1 and 2. Daniel Gafford was not present. PJ Richardson was locked down. There was nobody but Luka. And Boston's game plan was Luka can't do it all by himself. He's going to run out of gas. Sure enough, it worked. Now, is Luka hurt? Luka claims to be injured, and there was some storylines going into game 3. At the end of game 3, Luka fouls out. In a very critical moment of that ball game. Of course, the old saying goes, in a finals series, the first 2 games go to the home team's court, and then the next 2 games go to the visiting team's court. The series is never in jeopardy until the home team loses. We saw that in Game 3 at Dallas, and we saw a game of runs, Game 3 at Dallas, where Dallas started off strong and looked like they were in the driver's seat right from the opening tip-off, and then Boston rallies back, and it's back and forth with these big runs that I think as an NBA fan, no matter which team you're rooting for, has to make you feel a little uneasy, a little bit nervous out there. And headed into the fourth quarter, Boston's leading by like 21 points, and then Dallas catches fire and comes within 1 point.
20-2 run.
It was impressive.
Yes.
And I've got to tip my hat to Dallas because it was very, very impressive. Finally getting that late spark, that second wind, if you will. But Luka fouls out, and Dallas is all of a sudden without their ace, and they just can't get it done across the finish line. And then Boston takes Game 3, and of course you talk about nobody's ever come back, and now the home team loses. At this point, I look at this series, Boston already has one hand on the trophy. They're just looking to put that second hand on. Will they do it in Game 4? Will it be Game 5? Who knows? But this trophy is going back to Boston. The last time the Celtics won the NBA Finals, my oldest son, Michael, was being bottle fed in my arms as a newborn. That was 16 years ago.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of high stakes on this. Of course, Boston wanting to break that tie with the Los Angeles Lakers for the most NBA banners, the most finals wins. They're going to do it this year. And I think it's going to be a very big statement that the finals and the trophy goes back to the East, because the West has been so dominant, really, throughout the 2000s. If you think about the past couple of decades, it really has been a West dominant NBA. But you got to talk about what Boston's done really, really, really well. Kyrie Irving, for example, comes back and scores well in Game 3 after being shut down Games 1 and 2. He ends up scoring, I believe it was 35 points in the loss in Game 3. He was held to just 28 total across Games 1 and 2, but it didn't matter. It was too little too late, because as good as Kyrie Irving was in Game 3, Jason Tatum was just as good. Jaylen Brown has been phenomenal. And you got to remember, in this Game 3 win, this is all without Porzingis. For the Celtics, he goes down with a tendon injury. He's probably not coming back for the rest of this finals. And it was okay, because stepping up was Xavier Tillman in that center role, that big man role. He did a lot in 11 minutes. Had a big corner three-pointer. We talked about it on the show a couple times past couple of weeks, how corner threes were going to be a big thing. Had a huge block on Luka Doncic, by the way, also to really step up defensively. I'll be the first to admit I was wrong about this Boston team, and they've really stepped up what Drew Holiday has done defensively for this squad.
Defensively and offensively.
We talked about this. This could be Luka and Kyrie versus Tatum and Brown. And no, it's really been the support roles. It's been the role players that have really stepped up to get Boston to where it is right now. And it has not been pretty. It has not been efficient at times, but just like we saw against the Pacers and the Heat, Boston finds a way to get it done. And specifically, we talked about this before, clutch time. That's where the NBA's measurement of close games in the last 5 minutes of the game, Boston had that edge. We knew that coming into this series, and they really shined brightly in clutch time against Dallas Game 3, getting that win on the road floor. And now they're looking at a franchise record, 10 straight playoff wins. We're talking about Boston here.
Right.
The Boston Celtics, who have won 17 NBA titles already in 2024, doing something that none of those other teams have done. They feel destined to get Tatum his first ring. I think it's just a matter of when.
Mark, we were, typically for the whole series, wrong, but we were right in a couple of categories and talking about your role plays and the bench coming off, playing a huge part of it. And we were speculating as far as some of the injuries, just like you were talking about, but their bench came off, but they didn't have to have the spark. They just had to keep it rolling, and they did that. And then, of course, you're talking about Luka on that 20-2 run at the very end of it, the charges that he got and stuff like that, going to the rack. That was the big difference, because with 4 minutes left, just like you said, 1 point game, where's he at? He's on the sidelines. he's a cheerleader. And whether he's supposedly hurt or whatever, he was over there jumping up and down and throwing his, towel around and stuff and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if he had been on that court, shoulda, coulda, woulda, I know.
He felt wrong. He felt like he was wronged in that situation.
Yes. Well, he was.
And there's so many out there. There are many people that watch the NBA. They may not necessarily be NBA fans, but there are people out there that are like, well, the referees are going to make this series go 6, 7, make it go as long as possible. It's all about the money. It's all about the revenue. Let's get as much money as possible. If that is the case, I don't think they make that call against Luka Doncic in Game 3. Are you kidding me?
In front of Cuban.
I mean, with Dallas on the run that it was, had that not happened, fine, woulda, coulda, shoulda. In my opinion, had Luka not fouled out, Dallas was going to win that basketball game.
Well, but they didn't have the alternative. They couldn't even go back and look at anything else. And I'm going to bring up one more point because we're in the 2-minute warning right here in the first quarter. We were talking about the coach for Dallas having the experience.
Yeah.
Boy, we were wrong on that one, too. This other guy, Methodical, the chess match he's playing, that's a whole – you think he's going to get a contract extension?
With the coaching changes that Boston has had in recent years, and I've said this before, and I guess I'm wrong again, but it's all about what have you done. Jason Kidd for Dallas has done great things on the court as a player, one of the best to ever do it in the Mavericks organization, and now he's representing as the head Maverick. But it's all about getting across that hump. It's more about the players are trying to win their first ring. Some of these all-stars that are really trying to make a name for themselves. These coaches are trying to make a big name for themselves too. Contract extension.
Exactly.
Oh boy, it's coming because he's able to do something that so many other coaches. Boston's had a lot of coaches in the past few years. He's able to do something that they couldn't. Get this same talent across the finish line.
Well, no doubt. Time has run out in the first quarter. We come back second quarter. We got more. We've got a lot. So stay tuned right here. Sports and Shorts, the Tailgate Edition, right here at 92.9.
Welcome back to Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition, right here on 92.9 KVRE, streaming online at kvre.com. Second quarter, Tracy Simpson, Mark Oliver here, and we're going to stay in the NBA here, Tracy, because big news out of the NBA, maybe somber news out of the NBA this week, the loss of an absolute legend, Jerry West, the logo as he's known here in the NBA, dies at the age of 86, and boy, what an impact that West really had on the NBA, not only as a player, but also up in the box as well, and in the front office for multiple organizations. He played a large part in either playing with some of the best to ever do it or developing some of the best to ever do it, and it's a huge loss for the sport, and you've seen athletes, not just on the hard court, but all across all sports this week, coming out and paying tribute to Jerry West. I know that he was somebody that you watched a lot as well, and all the great things that he did back in his Laker days. And the third player in NBA history to reach 25,000 points. He was an all-star every year of his career. He led the Lakers to the finals 9 times, won 1 title in 71-72. 12-time All-NBA selection. And one of the coolest stats about Jerry West, he might not think so, but I think so. He was the NBA Finals MVP in 1969 as part of a losing team. That's how good he was. His team didn't even win the finals, and he still got MVP. I mean, that takes an incredible athlete to be able to do that. And, of course, he was named in NBA's recent 75th anniversary team, a legendary competitor who was so prevalent in the game. I know that the NBA never officially stated that man on the logo is Jerry West, but boy, it sure does look like him.
No,
sure does look like him.
I'll tell you what, you can't get in one of those character drawers at Walt Disney to make it any better. I'm just telling you right now. But yeah, you got to think about all of his accolades like you were talking about and everything like that, and the competition level. Even those days when ball players weren't making $1 jillion, you got to think those guys went out there and they played. I mean,
wasn't about the money.
No, not at all. Matter of fact, he was making more money in the front office than he had ever made on the court.
Oh, yeah.
Which is not, you don't see that these days. But you got to look at it also. The notoriety, of course, and him just being as humble as can be. I was honored to be at a FCA banquet where he was the guest and featured speaker, and just so humble, and stayed afterwards. Usually they don't do that kind of deal. Retrieving questions and signing autographs. And yes, I've got a basketball with his signature on it, by the way. But just so many great accolades, but being very humble about doing it and going, what they say, with his business and just taking care of business. And a pure shooter. I was honored to, like I said, get to meet the guy. But then also in the same conversation, you had the likes of Larry Bird and Kobe Bryant talking about who was their star? Who did they try, and it was him, of all things. The top five, if you ever heard Kobe Bryant say the top 5 players of all time, he didn't pick himself. He wasn't in that conversation.
Nope.
The first one that comes out is Jerry West. He said a small forward that could shoot the ball better than anybody. A pure shot is actually what he said. And that's the same thing Larry Bird said too, a pure shot. And if you ever, of course, during all those MVPs he got, where was his best percentage? Of course, at the free throw line. The guy was clutch, ice, and never in his interviews ever back in those days. Because I did go ahead and back and watch. It was almost like a 30-30 and stuff like that on his bio. The guy was so humble, but he was real. He was very real, and he even showed some clips back when he was in college and stuff. Man, you talk about, and yeah, that logo looks. I'm telling you what. If not, then something's wrong in the world. I'm just telling you.
And of course, with his passing, you expect a lot of sports media, videos, documentaries to go back and reflect and highlight his accomplishments within the game. And for you younger guys out there, for you basketball players out there, whether you're in elementary school on Pee Wee teams or high school or even aspiring to be a college athlete, I encourage you to watch those because he comes from an era where it was all about love of the game. It was genuinely about love of the game and not about the money and the power and the all the deals and the accolades. It was just about going out there and playing. And he was a guy that, there's a lot of comparisons with him to LeBron James in the current era, but, leading the Lakers to the NBA Finals 9 times, only coming up with one championship, unfortunately. But it's the definition of consistency. And it's something that LeBron James did very much so in this era of basketball as well. And when you take a look at some of the records that West holds in comparison to LeBron James, Jerry West still holds the record for most points scored in the NBA Finals in NBA history. LeBron James is the only active player who's even in the neighborhood of trying to catch him, but even so, LeBron has to, 1, get back to the finals, and 2, has to score 118 points in the finals in order to pass Jerry West. So this is a record that, depending on your opinion of LeBron James in year number 20 whatever, may never be broken. May never be broken, because if LeBron James can't do it, I don't think anybody else can. Looking ahead to the future, maybe. No. We always talk about, the Mavericks may never come. Someone will do it eventually. It's just not going to happen this year. I'm going to tell you that right now. But also, Jerry West is one of 3 players to win an NBA Finals MVP, be named an NCAA Tournament Most Outstanding Player, and an Olympic gold medal. It's like the EGOT of basketball. And the only other players to do it, Magic Johnson and Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon. So pretty big names out there as well. Of course, Jerry West, absolutely a Hall of Famer. In fact, he's in the Hall of Fame 3 different times already, both as a player and as an executive. These are remarkable achievements, and a tough loss for the NBA, but hopefully, the loss can kind of be turned into something positive, because now there's going to be a new reflective spotlight shown on his career that I hope is really inspiring for up-and-comers to not lose sight of what's important and what really matters, because you and I both know that, and some of these NBA players, whether in the Hall of Fame or not, they all know one day that ball's going to stop bouncing for you. It may come sooner, it may come later, but one day the game will not be able to be played at the level that you once were able to play it. So learn to love it, learn to enjoy it, and take advantage of every opportunity you get, because once your playing days are over, all it is those memories you've made. And man, I know for me on the baseball diamond, it's, man, it's not that I didn't take it seriously, but I wish I would have taken it more serious, because now with the wisdom for years afterward, it's like, man, I really wish I could have did this. I could have did this. And that's hard for youngsters to grab onto in the heat of the moment, but certainly a big lesson moving forward.
Mark, you were remarking about the MVP, in the NCAA and in the NBA, and both times, they didn't win it. They didn't win the whole thing.
That's
West Virginia made it to the finals.
Yes.
But they didn't win it, but he was still the MVP.
When is the last time you saw that? The losing team is the most valuable player.
How would you feel if you're on the other team? But that shows you the respect that they had for this guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he earned it. Don't give me, they didn't just give it to him. The guys, the numbers speak for itself, volumes, of course.
Yes.
But think about that as something in history that'll go down. You're remarking about stuff in history. Yes. And just from the mild, meek West Virginia, you don't think of a powerhouse, as far as basketball.
Yep.
In 59, relatively basketball in its early years. But then 10 years later, in 69, it's a phenomenal. And I know a lot of people, of course, now they've done the TV. I don't know if you got to see that show that they're doing. I've watched it a couple of times, but they try to portray him, as one of those soft guys that's basically like Teddy Roosevelt, speak softly and carry a big stick.
Yes.
And that's the way I think that there's, of course, it's TV, it's whatever you want to play with it. But it's basically what it was like, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you. And some good stuff there. I tell you what, he will be missed, 86 years young, but certainly the kids, like you were talking, I got to agree with you on that one, buddy. If there's things like this, you parents out there, grandparents or whatever, show some of the kids what it was like to be a real player. Show them some videos of him from back in the day. And just like Mark was saying, when you finally hang up them sneakers or them cleats or whatever the case is, say that you left it all out there on the court or the field or whatever. And
do it with no regrets.
And that's right. Look back on it and say, look, I did. And I think you'll go away with a lot more honest look of yourself every time you look in the mirror. But no doubt, man, no doubt. And it's going to be, I'm going to go back and watch some more, because I remember watching him so many times through the years. And in not only Boston did he drive crazy, but the Knicks he drove super crazy. And just Frazier just dribbling. The way he handled the ball, too. Not just shooting. The guy was phenomenal. So good stuff there, Mark. I don't know. We could sit here and hold the whole conference.
Of course, it's also just a clinic on work ethic, because you talk about, he went to the finals 9 times, only won 1 time. The NBA wasn't full of just pushovers and no talent during that era either. It was full of workhorses. It was full of dogs out there that were willing to go out there and fight. It was certainly maybe a more physical era of the NBA, but you really had to work hard to be successful at that level. So if you're looking for a strong role model of what it takes to be a leader, what it takes to be a winner, Jerry West was that.
No doubt about that. All right, time's expired in second quarter. We come back in the third quarter. Yes, we've got more Sports in Short. It's the Tailgate Edition right here at 92.9.
Welcome back to Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition, right here on 92.9 KVRE. He's Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. Let's turn our attention to collegiate athletics here in the Natural State. And Tracy, what a great year it's been. Whenever you look top to bottom, north to south, east to west, this was a good year of college sports here in Arkansas. National champions. You think about Harding winning the national championship in football in Division II. You think about National Park College winning a men's basketball NJCAA Division II national championship. And of course, up on the hill in Northwest Arkansas for the 51st time in program history, it's Razorbacks track and field getting it done. It was really impressive this time around, Tracy, because this is a squad that not only won the national championship in the indoor track and field back in March. Now they have an outdoor track and field championship for women's track and field to go along with it. Picking it up this week, they were out in Eugene, Oregon, home of the Ducks, University of Oregon, and not only did they take home a national championship win, Tracy, but they did it in a really big way, a really dominant way for a squad that is just full of achievements, and most impressively, with a first-year head coach this year.
Yeah, no doubt. And just like you said, dominant performance, but also you're talking about the SEC, Mark. I mean, right there, Duck headquarters, so to speak, and you're sitting there in Florida neck and neck with them the whole time, and then they go into this certain run that you're going to talk about here in just a second that was, of course, record-breaking, but they had to get that to avoid Florida, taking it from them, and it was pressure. I can't even imagine the pressure. And it was mounted on what? Young men? Oh, young women. Pretty crazy stuff. And those foursome pretty good, huh?
Absolutely, Tracy. And of course, when we look at the longevity of this program, the accolades, the legacy of Razorback track and field, the men's squad has more national championships than the women. But the way that these women are winning, so they go into this thing, and Florida is in the lead. It's up to the Razorbacks to get it done right here in the 1,600 meter relay. And these four women step in. It's Amber Anning, Rose Effing, Nikisha Price, and Kaylin Brown. They step in that 1,600 meter, and they when I watched this, I was actually sitting down at a restaurant eating dinner with my family. And this was on the TV, and I was watching this, and they didn't just win this race. I mean, it wasn't even close.
Nowhere.
Like you watch these races at Oaklawn, where it's just a dead winner, and I'm talking about winning by a mile, a long shot.
That's where that expression comes from.
There was no one in the rearview mirror at all. And not only did the Razorbacks cross the finish line first, they beat their own record, which it feels like is just a recurring story. Every single year. They're beating their own times. They finished with a 3:17.96 to lock up the championship. That's 3 minutes, 17 seconds, .96 to run 1,600 meters. Okay, that's
divide that by 4.
That's 4 laps around the track for you guys that don't know. Okay, they broke the school record that they had already set. These four women had already set by 4 seconds. They shaved 4 seconds off of their record-breaking time that they set back just in March, on March 25th.
Just did it.
At that time, in March, the 3:21.92 was the 6th fastest time recorded in world history in the 1,600 meters. 6th fastest time ever ran. They just beat it by 4 seconds, okay? Pushing it past Florida, getting to the finish line, getting the trophy. But let's put it in better perspective here, okay? These four women running for the University of Arkansas here in the Natural State, beautiful Arkansas, finish with a time 3:17.96 that would have claimed an Olympic gold medal. Think about that.
Yeah.
How impressive is that? When you talk about the Olympics, you're in running for the United States, you're picking the top talent from all across this great nation. I think 4 of those call Arkansas home right now. It's incredible.
Do you think that they should just go ahead and enlist those 4 for that particular run?
Tracy,
I know they're not going to do that, but why wouldn't you?
They're already ahead of you. They all 4 of them have already qualified for the Olympic qualifiers. They have to go through the gamut and run through the hoops and everything. But if I'm Team US, those are the 4 that I want on my squad. Are you kidding me? Absolutely.
And then they're individual. What about their individual when they ran the individual?
And boom, 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. just taking over, claiming all the top spots. I say it very, very often that I'm not a Razorback fan. I'm suddenly not going to jump on the bandwagon, but I say that because I try to look at the program objectively. And there's a lot of fans of the baseball program, the football program, the basketball program. There's a lot of fans that had their hearts broken this year, no matter which team you're rooting for. But one thing that's really remained consistent over the test of time is this track and field program. Now, I don't know, there's been a lot of conversation this week. I want to get your thoughts on this. Typically on the college frontier, you look at a school and you look at their success in athletics and you say, you know what? That's a football school. That's a basketball school. That's a baseball school. Is the University of Arkansas a track and field school? They've won 51 national championships across men's and women's track and field. Are we wrong? Are we incorrectly labeling the Razorbacks as, yep, that's a football school? Go Hogs.
God, Mark, that is a tough one right there. But you'd have to. I mean, because as far as football, 1, basketball, 1, baseball, duck egg, 0. All right, and then we go to 51. The legacy there, John McDonald, of course, how many? And then through the years, now we've got the up-and-coming newcomers that are winning it. But I would have to strongly suggest, yes, it's track and field. I don't want to go anywhere else but to Arkansas to run. But here's the question, though. Why is it not labeled that? I've got my insights on it. Why is it not?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm thinking.
Well, it could be the financial aspect, but listen, hey, truth is, there's a stigma attached to it. And I don't really know why. Because track and field, indoor, outdoor, men's, women's, is a very legitimate sport.
It's in the Olympics.
It's in the Olympics, okay? And some of the best athletes in the world. You think about your Usain Bolts out there. My kids, I don't know why my kids have been real high on Usain Bolt this week. I don't even know why. But
commercials.
But some of the best athletes to ever compete in the world run track and field or participate in these events. And for some reason, I feel like there's like a stigma attached to it. Like it's not as popular of a sport. And a lot of these universities don't necessarily give track runners, athletes, like the credit that they deserve. Maybe there's certainly not as much money involved in it. Unfortunately, it's not where, thousands of people are tuning in to watch it on TV. It's not maybe the easiest sport or the best sport to watch or the most entertaining sport to watch on TV. We've got some real winners there that are not necessarily getting their roses, but boy, they should, because they're doing really good things. And hey, we talked about it just on last week's show, where we were kind of down on the Razorbacks baseball and kind of in our feelings on it, talking about you were the chosen ones. You were supposed to get us out of this rut this year. Football let us down. Basketball certainly let us down. Baseball was the chosen one, and they let us down too. But you know who didn't? Track and field.
Track and field.
And for the Razorback fans out there, congratulations, because it's a very noteworthy achievement. And so it was so much fun to watch, and not just watch them win, but watch them dominate. And at the end of the day, I think that they have been the saving grace for the university in what was otherwise, a season of disappointment.
Well, I know a lot of them out there, of course, when the hiring of Coach Chris Johnson, the questions were out there. Is this the right hire? Is this the right guy? He's got some, no pun intended, big shoes to fill. And can he do that? And I guess the question has been answered very decisively and with a lot of respect to this man going out from here. And what will they do? Now, if we're going to make this a track and field school, does he get the same money as John Calipari?
No, he won't. He won't. And it's unfortunate. But as much as I hate to say it, that's kind of just the way that it is. Because unfortunately, these coaches that get the high dollar contracts come from sports that generate more revenue than other sports.
That's it. That is the bottom line, Mark.
It's unfortunate because, look at what Arkansas has done. Absolutely dominant. You talk about dynasties in a sport, really like just dynastic achievements. It's track and field. And I think it's here to stay because, another big win for Hunter Yurachek, I guess, right?
That's the whole, there you go, right there.
Another big coaching hire for Yurachek.
There you go. I bet he gets a little bit more of a stipend out of this one, Mark.
I can't tell the man what to do, but hopefully Chris Johnson gets his due. It's the 9th overall national championship for women's track and field at the U of A, and this one certainly feels like the best one to date.
Well, I'm sure this one, it has to for him. He's been up there for over almost a decade now, a little bit over a decade, to be honest with you, a dozen years, and become finally the head coach and get this huge award, of course. And yeah, I bet he gets a little bit more. I promise you that. Third quarter's rounding up, guys. We've got, fourth quarter on the way. Time's fixing to expire. Well, we've got more. Do not change that dial. Whatever you do, don't call a timeout. Just go for a snack real quick, because fourth quarter's coming right back here on Sports and Shorts, the tailgate edition at 92.9. And don't forget, we're streaming at KVRE.com. Fourth quarter coming up.
Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition continues right here on 92.9 KVRE. He's Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. Time for some fourth quarter action for you. Tracy, it's summer here in the Spa City and the surrounding areas, and summer camps abound. 7-on-7s, training camps, everybody getting ready, whether it's travel baseball and softball, getting ready for the upcoming high school football season. Nobody's sitting still in the sporting world, even if schools are not in session, colleges aren't in session right now, and I had the opportunity this week to really enjoy some really good quality baseball camp this week. National Park College hosting its baseball camp over at Majestic Park Monday through Wednesday this week. The beautiful Majestic Park facilities. And Tracy, I know I work for National Park College, so I don't know how genuine it is for me to say I was really impressed, because I have a couple of youngsters that are 100% bought in on baseball. They want to be baseball stars. One of them is an infielder. One of them is a catcher. And they had the opportunity this week to go and really get good specialized training. Like my youngest, River, he's 6 years old. He wants to be a catcher. That's the only position he wants to play. And he was able to go and tell them, hey, I want work as a catcher. And he got to sit down with a Nighthawk catcher and really get to work and grow and learn drills specific to the position that he wanted to play. There was all sorts of other conditioning things and like that, but that was one of the things that I really, really enjoyed about that. The specialized training that I think is really going to trickle down. I know that we're kind of eyeing possibly signing up for travel baseball. My wallet's a little bit worried about that, I'll be honest with you. But the kids really want to play. They're really bought in on baseball right now. But some of the other things happening around the area soon. National Park College has other summer camps on the horizon. Nighthawk basketball camp will be coming up. And of course, for the national champion Nighthawks, they'll be there training your youngsters, little boys or girls, ages 6 to 14. A Nighthawk basketball camp will be held at National Park College in the gym. They call it the Kettle. June 25th through 27th from 9 a.m. to noon. Registration is $75 per camper and includes a t-shirt. Campers will have on-the-floor instruction from Nighthawk coaches and student athletes, consisting of basketball drills as well as games and skills contests as well. Hope to see you guys out there. And of course, Nighthawk soccer camp right around the corner as well as the calendar turns to July. Brand new coach Corey Irvine of the men's and women's soccer programs, and specialized soccer camps, whether you're a boys high school player, girls high school player, or even junior high players. The boys high school Nighthawk soccer camp is July 8th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., $75 registration. The girls high school camp is July 9th. Same thing, $75 registration. Those will run from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then for those junior high athletes out there, on July 10th, boys and girls junior high, 9 a.m. to noon on July 10th, $75 registration. And you can sign up for any of those Nighthawk summer camps online. Visit np.edu/summer camps.
Man, oh man, I do remember those days, and they're so much fun. And Mark, like we were talking earlier in second quarter, look, this is the beginning of something that these kids can get involved in, and it gets them out of the house, off the couch. And you know what? But let me express something. Not everybody is going to come out right away and be a Babe Ruth. So please just take it with a grain of salt. Even your Michael Jordans of the world didn't start when they were in high school, okay? So please go at the rate that they go at. And every time that they do something, I don't care if they drop the ball, give them a compliment. Nothing as far as criticism. There's a big to-do about correcting them and discipline, okay? But at the same rate, you can never go wrong by complimenting on them, just maybe making a foul or almost had it, or next time you'll get it. Because, guys, I'm telling you what, negativity is just that, negativity. And so, and remember, but maintenance, guys, please, above all, be complimentary. Help these kids out. Be a part of the solution, not the problem, and enjoy it. Like Mark said a while ago, it's not going to be there forever, and they grow up quick. I'm telling you, quick. I was coaching one the other day, then watching him as a player, and now he's coaching. And it's just that simple. And I got another one in the ranks coming up. So, guys, I'm just telling you, it's so much fun. Make it fun. Have fun with it. And, Mark, these camps are just like that, like you're saying. What a way to go out there and to learn, whether you, like you said, want to be a catcher or an infielder or an outfielder or whatever the case is, and you get to specialize in that. That right there does not come very often. And, you see these big camps, where you got to pay this and pay that. And we call them cattle calls, is basically is what it is. They're there to get they're there to get the fee, is what it is. So if you can come to one of these specialized camps, it's so special, and be a part of it. It's something great. And Uncle Trace is here to help out anytime. I'm telling you that right now. But be a part of it. One real quick note, too, Mark. The Miracle League field that was over Lake Hamilton, they did a great job the other day. Unbelievable. Appreciate everybody out there. Those are some kids that don't always get the opportunity. So if you've got a Miracle League in your area field, please support that also. And then maybe even volunteer. They're always looking for somebody to step up and help out. But congratulations to those that set that up the other day at Lake Hamilton. I know they had another one up in Little Rock. And so, supporting those kids, because once again, they're very special. And the Miracle League does a lot to help out, and we appreciate all those volunteers out there, Mark. Good stuff.
Yeah, Tracy, and of course, while we talk about summer camps and 7-on-7s, team camps, no matter what sport you're preparing for, off-season or getting ready for the season, there's a lot to be concerned about for safety as well out there.
No
Listen,
doubt.
we're in the heat of the summer right now. It's hot out there, and of course, I was just out at baseball camp for National Park College Monday through Wednesday, and it was very important, and we saw it so often. Frequent water breaks, dousing ourselves in sunscreen, but wanting to stay safe there. And there's so many things that it's very easy to lose sight of, because you sit there and you're looking at the clock. I'm like, well, we only have this long to get this in. We've got to get this done. It's easy to lose sight of safety when you're looking at the big picture. Well, I need to accomplish A, B, C, and D today, but I'm not going to listen to what my body's telling me here. So for the coaches out there, for the athletic trainers out there, for the parents maybe sending their kids off to these camps, be mindful of some of these things. And of course, make sure that these camp participants are mindful of some of these things as well. Listen to what your body's telling you. Keep an eye on the weather and the sunny conditions. Have sunscreen available. Have plenty of fluids available. But it really goes beyond just making sure you get enough to drink as well. There's a lot that you can do proactively, either after the camp or before the next camp. Make sure you're getting a good night's sleep. Make sure you're getting a well-balanced meal in order to keep yourself at your best and as safe as possible, because heat stroke, heat sickness are very, very real things targeting our youngsters out there in the heat of the summer sun, and we want to make sure everybody stays safe and continues to enjoy these camps and enjoy what makes them so special.
No doubt. And that's a very good point right there, Mark. I'm telling you right now, you think of why you're doing these camps. Look, hydrate prior to these camps. I cannot instill that into you enough right now. The night before, early that morning, you don't have to guzzle in moderation, but take in, and of course, the best thing out there on the planet, and especially around Hot Springs, is the water. And of course you can get some electrolytes once you're in the heat of the battle or whatever, or you're at the camp or whatever. But from several different drinks they have these days. But the night prior to that, like Mark was talking about, a really good supplemental meal. And I know summertime's here, a lot of pizza, a lot of hamburgers, a lot of fries going on around the area. But don't forget also some of them veggies in there, also fresh fruit and fresh veggies along with the water. We used to make a fun about it all the time, especially when we'd go to these camps over in Oklahoma, because there's really a town called a lot of water.
That's right. That's right.
And we'd say, what are we doing today? We're going to drink a lot of water. And so just making light of it. But please hydrate. And Mark, you're right. That sunscreen can save your whole camp. I promise you that, because you're right there when it's beaten down. And on day 2, if you've got a sunburn, it is no fun. So be thinking about that. And can I make another remark real quick, Mark? You parents out there, or aunt, uncles, whatever, don't forget the umbrellas or even a pop-up. They make them nowadays. I remember back in the day, the 10 by 10 or the great big bulky ones. You don't have to do that anymore. But certain areas, I know Academy has it, but they make up these ones now that are 3 by 3s and 4 by 4s, and they're easy. They're basically a big umbrella, but it's a pop-up, but it's easy to handle. It's easy to carry. They even got ones that have spritzers on them and stuff. But I would advise you to go ahead and get one of those. They're not that expensive, I'll be honest with you. And the bulk is gone anymore. These are light to carry around. They can either fit on the ground underneath your chair or up in the bleachers, either one. But if you're going to go to these camps, I would definitely advise on getting one of these, because they are lifesavers. And don't forget the cooler on wheels.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You give yourself a summer workout just carrying those giant coolers around. And of course, another thing too, if you're a coach or an athletic trainer or somebody who's maybe just volunteering to assist at one of these camps, make sure that you're creating a comfortable environment for these campers to be able to reach out to you. And because you got to remember, these guys come from all sorts of teams, communities, and different coaching styles, where sometimes it's frowned upon to ask, hey, can I go get a drink? Hey, I need to go to the bathroom. Make sure that it's an inviting, comfortable atmosphere, because what I've noticed is that there's a lot of kids that they're afraid to step up and ask those kind of questions. And in the heat of the summer sun, if they really need a drink, they may be shy to do it. So make sure that it's a welcoming, inviting thing. Build in those breaks every 20 minutes or even fewer than that. Mm-hmm. Make it, incorporate it into your activities to make sure that everybody stays healthy and safe this summer. Tracy, another week in the books. Good show today.
Good show, Mark. We're out of here.